He argued with his family, walked into the dark, and was never seen alive again. In July of 2019, the life of 25-year-old Chance Englebert, a young father, a husband, and a former competitive rodeo athlete, was in a moment of transition. He had just secured a new job after being laid off from a local coal mine and was visiting his wife, Bailey, and their infant son with her relatives in Goring, Nebraska, over the 4th of July weekend. It was meant to be a relaxing trip, filled with family time and a round of golf. But on the evening of July 6, 2019, that simple weekend exploded into a nightmare. After a tense argument, which reportedly followed a comment made about his new job, a frustrated and upset Chance decided he had had enough. He told his family he wanted to go home to Wyoming. It was a roughly 50-mile, hours-long journey to his home to Torrington, Wyoming, but Chance was already walking when he called a friend to ask for a ride. The last anyone saw of him, alive, he was walking to the streets of Goring, a man on a determined, frustrated, and ultimately tragic path to disappear. As Chance walked away, a major storm was rolling in across the Nebraska plains. Surveillance cameras captured him on foot, passing through residential neighborhoods in Goring and the nearby community of Terrytown. He was seen, he was moving, but he was completely alone. He was active on his phone, frantically trying to arrange a ride. His last confirmed call with a friend was around 8:46 p.m. He was still walking, reportedly somewhere between Goring and Scottsbluff. Then came the final contact, a confused, perplexing message sent to his aunt around 9:08 p.m., reportedly containing a random string of letters and an emoji, a strange, cryptic final text. Shortly after, his phone went dead, and the torrential rain and severe storms slammed the region. The North Platte River swelled, and the darkness of a summer storm consumed the area. Despite a massive multi-agency search operation involving 17 different organizations, drones, cadaver dogs, helicopters, and hundreds of volunteers, not a single piece of confirmed evidence was ever found. No wallet, no phone, no clothing. Chance Englebert had simply vanished into the stormy night. Everyone had a theory, and none of them fit. The silence of the case immediately birthed a wave of speculation. The first and most easily explained theory was that Chance had succumbed to the elements. Walking in the dark, possibly disoriented and under the influence, the severe storm and flash flooding could have caused him to fall into the nearby North Platte River, washing his body away. But other theories were darker. Online sleuths and even investigators pointed to the suspicious circumstances of the argument and his final location. Some speculated foul play, suggesting he was picked up by someone and met with a tragic end. This was fueled by reports of new witnesses who came forward later, claiming to have seen two women screaming for help and a white pickup truck speeding away from the area around the time of his disappearance. Another theory centered on a tense altercation Chance had reportedly had with an unknown man in a convenience store shortly after his phone died. His family, however, never subscribed to the idea that he simply wandered off or drowned. They held vigils every July 6, keeping his face in the public eye, fueled by the unsettling belief that someone, somewhere, knew what truly happened to that young father. Six years later, the mystery broke wide open. For 6 years, the case was still, becoming one of the most heartbreaking missing person stories whispered in online forums and local communities. The case was active, but the trail was ice cold. Then, in October 2025, everything changed. a hiker discovered human skeletal remains and clothing near Scotts Bluff National Monument, just a few miles from where Chance was last seen. Investigators immediately descended on the area. The location was chillingly close to where his journey went cold, an area that had been searched, yet remained silent for years. The true breakthrough came when the Garrick Police Department confirmed that multiple items found at the scene were identified by Chance's family as belongings he had with him the night he disappeared. The family, though cautious, acknowledged that this was a critical juncture in the case. After 6 years of agonizing uncertainty, the community, the investigators, and most importantly, Chance's family, were finally facing the very real possibility of an answer. Forensic DNA analysis is now underway to provide a positive identification, but for many, the discovery of his belongings spoke a devastating truth. The evidence may bring closure, but not peace. If the remains are confirmed to be Chance Englebert, the case closes one chapter only to open another, more perplexing one. The central questions now shift from where is he to how did he die and why was he missed? Was this a tragic accident? Did he climb up the treacherous, dark, and rain-slicked terrain of Scotts Bluff on a stormy night, slip and fall, dying from a massive trauma or exposure? Or did the strange reports of a screaming woman and the white truck point to something more sinister? One of the most haunting questions is how a 6-year, multi-agency search could have missed him. The remains were found in an area that, while remote, was relatively close to his last known location. Was the body hidden? Or was the area simply so rugged and remote that it escaped detection for years? One former private investigator noted that the steep cliffs and loose shell could have hidden a body from even the most dedicated search party. The ultimate analysis reminds us that in true crime, closure does not equal peace. The scientific evidence, the cause of death, the toxicology reports may finally bring an end to the missing status, but it will undoubtedly spark a fierce, final effort to determine if Chance's walk into the dark was truly his last own decision, or if someone else helped him disappear. He became a name whispered in online forums, a mystery that felt impossible to solve. For years, the story of Chance Englebert was used as a chilling example of a modern vanishing act. He was a man who disappeared in modern-day time. His disappearance, set against the backdrop of an argument and a fierce storm, led to a simple, yet frustrating and devastating puzzle. He created something called the Chance's Army, determined to search the fields and canyons of Nebraska and Wyoming. They refused to let his case gather dust, ensuring his story was shared year after year. Now, with the discovery of his belongings, the mystery is yielding to the tragedy. The hope is that the scientific conclusion will give his family, his wife, his sons, his parents, the definite answers they have fought for over 6 years now. The legend of Chance Englebert will live on, not as an urban myth of a man who simply walked away, but as a painful, tragic reminder of how quickly an ordinary argument can lead to an unsolved mystery, and how relentless love and dedication are required to finally bring a loved one home. These stories don't need ghosts to be terrifying. Real life is enough. Which part of Chance's story sticks with you the most? That cryptic last text, or how the remains were missed for 6 years? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe for more cases that still keep people asking questions.